There are so many of your favorite characters to meet at Walt Disney World, but how do you have a good interaction with them? Most guests don't know how to do that. One of the biggest things is you can talk to characters about their story, but what about the more intricate things? That's where this comes in. This is part 1 of a 5-part series where I give you some tips on interacting with Disney characters. Before we begin, let's set up some ground rules. 1. I will only talk about characters exclusive to each park in each part. The 5th and final part will be characters that appear in multiple parks. So if your favorite character appears in multiple parks, they will be at the end of the series in part 5. 2. Restaurants don't count. Most restaurants have characters you can meet elsewhere in Walt Disney World, except for, number 3, if the characters are exclusive to that restaurant. In that case, I will talk about them in the part where their resort area is. I made that rule specifically to talk about Ohana. You will find that in the Magic Kingdom part. 4. These videos will only cover meet and greets. Characters in live shows or dance parties don't count. Here's how the series will work. Part 1 will be Hollywood Studios. Part 2 will be Animal Kingdom. Part 3 will be Epcot. Part 4 will be Magic Kingdom. And Part 5 will be the characters that appear in multiple parks. So without further ado, let's kick off the series with Part 1, Disney's Hollywood Studios. This park mainly has 3 groups of characters: Disney Junior, Star Wars, and Pixar. Let's start with Disney Junior. Now, I will only be talking about the 3 exclusive ones: Doc McStuffins, Fancy Nancy, and Vampirina, because the last one there is Pluto, and he appears in multiple parks. Let's start off with Doc McStuffins. Now, you could have her listen to your heart with her stethoscope, but the best interaction with her is if your child has a plush toy, like, say, Stitch or Mickey, they can take them to see her and have her perform a checkup on their plushes, just like she does in the show. Now, arguably, I don't have any experience with Doc McStuffins because I haven't met her yet, but now I move on to a character that I have met before, Fancy Nancy. If you or your family is from Canada, then Fancy Nancy is a great character for your child to meet, because she loves it if you can speak French or ask her to teach you French. Another thing you can do is dress your child like Fancy Nancy, because she likes to be fashionable. Finally, for this segment, we move on to Vampirina. Now, in her show, she has moved to Pennsylvania recently, so a good tip is to let her know some attractions in Pennsylvania, especially if you're from there. Another good topic is new instruments to add to her band, like a keyboard or something else. Now it's time for Star Wars, where you can meet Chewbacca, BB-8, Darth Vader, and Kylo Ren. All 4 of these could have a conversation about the same thing, their adventures. Well, except for BB-8, he can't really interact with you. But most of the Star Wars characters don't have typical meet and greets, so you can't really interact with them. Now we have the final segment, Pixar. Disney's Hollywood Studios is the big place for Pixar meet and greets. Let's start with Sully. Now, this autograph that you're seeing came from a card. Don't expect him to sign an autograph because, well, he can't. One big thing for him is if your child, especially if you have a daughter, calls him Kitty, like Boo did, then you would get quite a good reaction from him. Moving on to Mrs. Incredible. Sometimes Mr. Incredible is with her, but mostly it's only Mrs. Incredible. Now, I, in particular, have talked with her about her family, especially Jack Jack, especially with that Jack Jack statue hanging in Pixar Place. You can also talk about how you have gotten more flexible because she is Elastigirl. Frozone is a similar idea. You can ask him if he and Mr. Incredible still go bowling, as that's their secret code for superhero activity. Another thing you could do is, when talking to him, make ice puns, as he has ice powers. I understand that works better with Anna and Elsa than Frozone, and I will get to them in the Epcot part. Next is Edna Mode. Now for her, there is one thing she's big on: fashion. Be your most fashionable when meeting her. And of course, no capes! The penultimate entry is Joy, and she is one of the simplest to have a good interaction with. Just tell her some of your happiest memories. She loves to collect those for Riley, and so she might do the same for you. The last entry in this video is Woody and Jessie in Toy Story Land. I'm not mentioning Buzz because he also meets in Magic Kingdom next to his ride. Jessie loves hugs, so hug her. Ask Woody if he has checked his boot for any snakes. Yodel for Jessie. She loves to do that. Now these are just some tips. If you have tips of your own, leave them in the comments for each character. That does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and check out post notifications for all my other videos. That being said, I'll see you next time.